Hello, Craig.
Hello, Colin.
We are talking about the MonsterVerse again. This time, since last week we talked about Godzilla 2014, we're going to be talking about Kong Skull Island, which came out in 2017, almost 10 years ago. Came out 9 to be exact. And I remember, Craig, I don't know if you remember, we actually saw this in the theater. And the only reason why I saw it in the theater was because I heard Rodan, Ghidorah, and Mothra were in the post-credit scene. That was my only reason why I watched it. I watched the entire movie just to see them in it, because at the time, I don't think they were filming King of the Monsters. I think they're about to start filming. But yeah, I think overall, though, I kind of like this movie. What'd you think of Kong Skull Island?
I think it's fine. Nothing good, nothing bad, just okay.
I think I like this more than when I first saw it. When I first saw it in the theaters, I didn't really care for it. Because again, I think in 2016, they announced that Kong was going to be fighting Godzilla. So even back then, I hated that idea, and I still hate it. So I kind of came into the movie not upset, but I was kind of pushing against Legendary mentally. And again, my only real reason why I wanted to see the movie was because of the post-credit scene with Rodan in it, even though it's just cave paintings.
Still was a tease of what to come and what they ruined.
Yeah, so I think that it's a solid movie. And again, with the MonsterVerse, it's a little light on the human characters, and there's too many of them. And I think, I don't know how you feel, John C. Reilly's character, Marlowe, I believe his name is, he's the best character in the movie. He's the only one that kind of has a goal. And I liked Miranda too, even before they retroactively ruined some things with Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I still always thought John Goodman was a good part of the movie.
They had good actors, they just didn't have a good story.
Tom Hiddleston is kind of wasted as stereotypical tough British guy. Brie Larson's there. She is the war photographer, and Samuel L. Jackson is the Ahab character, where all he wants, even though it's illogical at some points, that's kind of the idea of the Ahab character, that he sacrifices everything to take down this creature. But again, it's such a tiresome trope, the Ahab character.
Also, it doesn't really feel earned. Now they're trying to put at the backdrop of the Vietnam War, but he was right, and they could have easily wiped the floor with him, but they just didn't.
They almost killed him.
No, I was talking about like the whole Vietnam War, and why they lost the war is a lot of other things, not just legitimately losing. And that's why he was upset they lost. Therefore, he turned his anger towards Kong, but you think he would turn his anger towards someone else, like the war photographer who helped turn the tide back home. But no, he turns against a giant monkey.
Is that a monkey?
Is that a monkey?
But yeah, too many characters. Not a whole lot is done with them. They're kind of just there. And if we're looking at it structurally, Boring Soldier Man is, on paper, a better character, but this movie has better actor direction than Godzilla 2014.
Yeah, just most of them are basically stock characters and don't really do much. Just fodder to get killed off along the movie.
Yes. I did like the scene, though, when they're dropping the bombs to lure out Kong. And I distinctly remember you and I laughing in the theater when it's the close-up of that guy and you see off his reflective glasses the explosions and he's smiling. When I first saw that, I thought that was so funny.
You still love it because he still sends that clip every now and then of the guy bombing. I guess it looks like Vietnam, but it's Skull Island.
Yeah. What are some things you liked, Craig? Because I know you said it's okay. What are some things you liked about it?
Well, I know a lot of the characters are stock and boring, but I did like the one older soldier's character. I laughed more at his stuff.
John C. Reilly.
No, the soldier
Oh,
guy.
the Shea Wiggum, the guy who dies, who blows himself up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch this movie often, but when I rewatched it, the scene where they just fight Kong and he's just eating like nothing happened.
That was an unconventional encounter.
Is that really all your brain telling itself right now?
There's no tactical precedence. We did the best we could in the situation.
That's a man who's seen some stuff in war.
It's like, well, I got to eat. He said something after that too. Yeah, we did our best we could. It was an unusual engagement. It reminded me of, I keep thinking of Galaxy Quest. The one guy, nothing phased him.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what it kept
yeah.
reminding me of. Nothing phased this guy's. Yeah, whatever. Fight a
Kinda
giant
like
monkey.
Captain Kirk in Star Trek 2, where he's asking about food, and then Bones is like, how could you think of food in a time like this?
Not this is a bad movie, but I think of
No,
something
I
silly.
think, honestly, it's pretty solid. I would push back a little bit against you where you said it's boring. I think this
I'd
one
say
flows.
boring.
We said the characters are boring. I think they're,
They're
stock.
flat.
I don't think they're boring. I think they're just by the numbers, if you could call some of them characters, honestly.
Did I say boring? I thought I said stock.
You did throw the word boring in. Maybe you didn't mean it, but I think it flows pretty well. And in this movie, they established that the Hollow Earth is a subterranean kind of tunnel system. They say it so descriptively in this.
Crackpot idea that there are these massive underground spaces isolated from the surface world.
Passageways.
And then you see hard cut to Godzilla X Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong, where it's this underground universe with its own sun system.
Why would Bill Randa need proof that the Hollow Earth exists when he's seen so many monsters and have lost people to the Hollow Earth?
This is also true because, again, in the context of this movie before that garbage came out, he was the lone survivor of the ship that got attacked by Godzilla. So, of course, there could always be speculation about whether he's seeing things or not because it's one guy saying all these crazy things. But now, yeah, he's seen so much. Apparently, a lot of people have seen a lot of stuff too.
He's leading a huge, not maybe a huge, but he's leading a government agency, so he has some influence, some power.
And again, he aged so horribly from 1968 to John Goodman, 1973.
Probably a lot of drinking and smoking after he lost his family.
I think also the skull crawlers, even though people probably say they're cool looking, I think they're just kind of there. They don't have any kind of real motivation like, let's say, the Mutos or even Ghidorah. They're just there to attack and kill things.
What's what a lot of this movie is, just things there to either get beaten up by Kong or to get killed by Kong or the skull crawlers. Most of the characters are there just for that.
Yeah. That is true. I wish they did something other than Skullcrawlers just want to kill things. At least be a little more creative with what they were doing. Because they established they're from the Hollow Earth, and Kong usually kills them when they're small, but then when Samuel L. Jackson goes on his revenge quest against Kong and almost kills him, I might add. That's when the big one comes out, and then Kong struggles against the big one, but ends up killing it.
So you mentioned that Hank Marlowe was the best character.
Yes.
Did I remember correctly? I could have sworn they wanted to make a movie with him at some point or some adaptation. I could have sworn
Maybe
I saw
it's a comic adaptation.
I could be hallucinating once again, but I remember I could have sworn there's something about him. And the reason I mentioned that is I was thinking of Monarch, where they keep saying how they want to go back to the past and have a show basically based on
Lee
forgetting
Shaw.
the guy's
Lee
name.
Shaw.
Yeah, Lee Shaw. And people are like, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? That was the best character. Why didn't you have the movie star Hank Marlowe, the best character? You have all these bunch of millions of other characters that no one really cares about. And of course, you don't have the movie star the best character with the best motivation.
Well, they wanted the big name Tom Hiddleston.
Is he that big?
He's Loki, I guess. I don't know. Which, again, he did a fine job, but he just feels like a stock placeholder. SAS stereotypical man who is a tracker. That's really all there is to him. I mean, he mentioned that his father fought in World War II, and then he had this lighter that Mason ends up using to save them when they go into that death field. Which, by the way, I don't know if you remember, in Monarch Season 2, they go back there because that's where they see the remains of Bill Randa.
They find his remains?
They find, no, well, not his remains. They find his camera, I think.
Oh.
And Keiko starts having like a mental breakdown.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh my god, we just saw this.
I don't think you understand. When I don't want to watch something, there's only so much I can retain. It's like bouncing off my brain. So.
I would watch it, but then again, I would say whenever we saw Kate, that was go on phone time. And that was a lot of going on the phone time. But I remember
that was the whole show for me.
What was I saying beforehand before he distracted me?
Talk about the lighter with...
Oh, yeah. So that's all there really is to him. They try to set up something with him, but not really. I don't know. He's just there.
You know the character Mason, she's supposed to be the anti-war photographer, the Pulitzer Prize winner. I'm pretty sure the only reason she's there is because they think Kong can only connect with females, and she's there to be the female character that connects with Kong. That's really it. And it's not like they have this great connection.
I mean, he just looks at them before he shows down with Samuel Jackson or has a showdown with him. And then
she was nice to an animal one time and
picks her up. I mean, they established that, again, the reason why Kong attacked them wasn't because he was attacking them out of nowhere. They said that them dropping the bombs were waking up the Skullcrawlers and he wanted to stop the noise.
Or the holes popping up.
Yeah. Does anyone ever claim that Samuel L. Jackson's a good character in this movie? Do
you
like him? They do. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. This seems to be the most popular, best rated Monarch movie among the fans.
I mean, I think overall it's a pretty entertaining movie. I'm not going to sit here and act like that it's not, but I don't know. I feel like none of these movies ever really could get consistent characters. There's always one or two characters that kind of steal the show for the human characters, but they always seem to pick the wrong human protagonist. I just think this one is just very bare bones. And at least also with this, I know a lot of people are complaining about why there's not a lot of not a lot of day fights. I remember even when this movie came out, they said, oh, finally, we have day fights. My whole thing is I don't care if it's at night. I just want to see what's happening. And again, I think honestly for our Godzilla 20 or not our for Godzilla 2014, I think that it was fine in the theater. It's just the scans that they made of the movie for digital platforms. I see people online also say that too, that for whatever reason they messed up the scanning and everything is darker. So
Really?
yeah, I've seen some people say that, and I didn't watch it on HBO Max, so I would have to see what it looks like on there. 'Cause I would assume they corrected it on HBO Max, but I could be wrong.
No, Colin, I want to briefly mention now, I'm not a movie guy. I'm
Mhm.
not a media guy. But
Mhm.
even someone like me can figure out why they film movies at night and why fights are typically at night.
It's more dramatic. It's
more
better
dramatic.
lighting, overhead lighting, consistent kind of lighting.
Get dramatic lighting. When the movie ends, usually sun rises, beginning of a new day, conflict's over.
Also, the reason why sometimes they add not water, they add rain is because rain makes surfaces reflective and more reflective of light.
Now, Colin, I can pick up on these things, and I'm not a movie guy. People who watch hundreds of movies can't pick up on this.
Well, it's also, there's a logistic side to it where sometimes it is cheaper where you can hide more in darkness and certain kind of effects. It is a logistics thing too, because people think that with movies there's just this unlimited budget where they see a number. They don't realize how much of that is actually just spent on the movie and how much is allocated to contracts for the actors, the crew. So I don't think people ever think about that stuff.
No. But the point is, I've seen people complaints like that's the only reason why they would. I think there's some magical force in the universe preventing them from doing day fights, and there's a myriad of reasons that we just mentioned, not just from the financial, logistical, technical, but also dramatic and storytelling perspective. That they don't. It seems like a fly right over their head. Like all these reasons, they never think of it. Oh, they just don't do it because they're lazy or something. They're just not creative enough.
I mean, also in the 90s, the Heisei era, almost every fight scene took place at night. So I don't know where people were getting this conception that Godzilla fights during the day. That only happened in the Showa era, really. And then the rest of the movies kind of mostly the final fight was always at night. But this is
'Cause it's
Kong,
more
though. This is
dramatic.
different. Yeah.
But people keep making that argument, and these people watch tons of movies and they can't pick up on this. I just find that very interesting.
Well, do you want to hear something juicy and then we'll get back to the movie? This is related to the movie, though. I actually know somebody who worked on this movie and worked on another Godzilla X Kong movie.
Tell me his name, address,
No,
social security
I
number.
would never do that.
No, I
But
didn't know
he
his name,
said
address.
he said that this was a studio directed movie, essentially, where the director, I don't even know his name, he didn't really know what he was doing. His words, not mine, and that the studio had to take over and finish the movie. Not that this guy was fired or anything, but it was definitely the studio was calling the shots.
Are we really surprised this was the second movie he ever directed?
No, I'm
according
not
to
surprised.
his Wikipedia.
I'm just saying that I don't know if a lot of people knew about that, about the behind the scenes, but that's what I can offer. I do know somebody who worked on this, and he was part of the Thailand unit.
So I'm not sure when I was going to bring this up, but do you remember when he had that meltdown on Twitter?
This guy?
Yeah.
About the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, it's such a long time ago, maybe.
See, I remember...
Was he defending it?
Well, sort of, and I kind of agree with him. So he was upset that CinemaSins went after his movie.
Yes. There's that whole debate. That's why we make fun of CinemaSins, because he was saying that it's not film criticism, it's just nitpicks that kind of overlook the practicality of filmmaking.
Or miss the larger context of the scene.
Well, that too.
Or the story. And he was going after them. And I think people were trying to sit there and say that he's having a meltdown. He was probably having a little bit of a meltdown, but he's also 100% in the right, saying that CinemaSins is awful, and they're not.
It's not film criticism, it's just film nitpicking. And that's why I always take little jabs at them, because you could sit through any movie and you can notice hundreds of little continuity problems, but that doesn't affect the quality of the movie unless it's something completely horrific that they messed up entirely, which does happen. You can make fun of that, but just the little nitpicking stuff is just doesn't affect the quality of the movie.
Well, and I remember people would watch their videos and say, actually, you're wrong with your nitpicking. If you paid attention, the movie would explain whatever you're not understanding or that scene.
But the helicopters. Well, there's one part where I think the guy's name is Jeremy from CinemaSins, and he said, where all these helicopters come from? And I'm pretty sure even the director said that there's a shot that goes around the boat that shows more helicopters leaving. It's kind of not a blink and you miss it, because I was thinking that same thing too. Even I was rewatching it because I looked away, had to go back and see that clip real quick. So stuff like that, yeah, the nitpicking is silly, and this is a different kind of breakdown, or not breakdown, but this guy crashing out, I guess you could say, on Twitter, as opposed to James Mangold, who was actually just crashing out on Indiana Jones. There's a complete difference. This guy's defending his movie from nitpicking, and the other guy was lashing out at fans who were critical of the quality of the movie, not even just saying, oh, in this scene, how come Harrison Ford's wedding band's on this hand and not the other? None of that nonsense. So I support the director calling out CinemaSins. Cinnamosins.
To be fair, I don't actually remember if he was melting down or not. I just remember he was taking the fight to CinemaSins, and
Well, yeah.
not many people were on CinemaSins' side.
I'll comment on that. Yeah, him making fun of or coming after Cinnamosins. That's fine. If he was going after fans because they're saying we
No,
don't
no,
like
no.
the
It was
movie.
purely CinemaSins.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to mention one more little jab at CinemaSins.
Yeah.
When they started out, I don't think they were completely horrible. Their videos were around 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes,
Now
I
they're
used to watch
20,
them.
30, 40
Yeah.
minutes. It's basically the length of the movie at that point. What could you possibly be criticizing? It's probably just constant nitpicking every frame of the movie.
Yeah, so when they first started
I
out,
haven't watched them in a long time.
each one, at least when I was watching, this is like in high school, each episode was like 2 to 5 minutes, 2 to 8 minutes, and it was breezy. What are some of the things you don't like, Craig?
A lot of it's really the characters. Not that they're bad, but they're just stock, generic tracker, stock, angry army revenge guy, stock photographer, general army soldier people. Of course, the one guy who's just unfazed by everything. He's my favorite.
The guy who's seen it all. He's lived it.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can watch-
also, sometimes, not that it clashes, but the movie jumps from monster movie to this kind of, not cynical take on war, but they're commenting about war and the Vietnam War. And then there's some moments of comedy, and it just seems like they don't really pick a lane all the time. They kind of just go back and forth, kind of what suits the scene.
And there are times where the comedy didn't land. Sometimes it's not appropriate, and sometimes it wasn't just funny. When Marlo was talking about Kong, how he's God here, then the skull crawlers, and so that's the first time I said it out loud. It's really stupid.
I never said that name out loud before. It sounds stupid now that I say it. Just, you call him whatever you want.
I didn't mind that one, actually.
I don't know. I felt like it dragged on a bit where they're saying, I didn't mind the name. Feels
yeah.
like those improv scenes that.
Their reaction, yeah, I would remove. But him just saying they don't even say the name, so he calls them skull crawlers, and him saying it's stupid. I know. Move on. That's fine. Him saying that it's a stupid name because it kind of is. That's fine. I do like too that at least these actors are more expressive to the carnage that's going around them. Because I'm editing our boring Soldier Man video for Godzilla 2014, and he's just so lively. He just looks up, kind of has his mouth open, and doesn't really react. Everyone kind of reacts to the violence, except the guy who's seen it all and is unfazed by it.
Yeah, but that's done for comedic effect versus the guy who's just.
He that guy's the exception. But I'm just saying, boring Soldier Man is just, he kind of seems numb to everything, even though this is the first time everyone's seeing monsters. he has the blankest expression when the Muto is coming up from behind him in Janjura. At least everyone here they're more lively. Not saying they're better as characters, but they're at least they're more lively.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess one good scene is when they first introduce Kong, where you have them just dropping bombs. The guy's really happy to be, I guess, burning some trees down, dropping bombs on who knows what, and then Kong just throws a tree and spears the first helicopter.
I think also, because I talked about the skull crawlers earlier, again, they're kind of just there, and they don't have, they kind of hinted, I guess, at this mythological, not rivalry kind of with Kong, that he always fights and kills them, and that the big one killed his family, but the monsters themselves don't feel like they have this mythology about them like Ghidorah does. And obviously I know that's Ghidorah, right? But this just feels like a little stock creepy monster that runs around and eats things.
It also doesn't help that
Yeah, sorry, you go.
they're just isolated to this island. Ghidorah and these other monsters are revered by maybe one culture, but they can travel the world so people can respect and see Kong's the giant monkey. And the skull crawlers are just these weird two-armed lizard creatures.
With their tongues can shoot out.
I was hoping it could have something different, maybe V-Rexes or something, but I know that's the Peter Jackson one in the original. And I know people have made comparisons between this one and the original King Kong story, either the Peter Jackson or the original. And I think people who see this have to know that there's no relation at all. This is just setting up for him to fight Godzilla. They're not intending on recreating the original story.
Do people actually think that?
I have seen some comparisons saying how it doesn't really shape.
Are they high?
They could be. You never know. I only
that's
say that because
crazy criticism.
I only say that because I feel like I have to state the obvious for people who can't pick up on the obvious.
Yeah, it was never supposed to be a faithful retelling of the original movie.
I don't think they ever intended it.
No, they 100% never intended it. They just had this movie so, one, they could get the rights, and two, he could fight Godzilla. That's crazy. People are expecting it to be a faithful retelling.
Not a faithful, but
Or at least
closer
be
to
closer
the
to
original.
the movie? That's nuts. Wow. There are some silly people out there, I tell you.
Very silly people.
I think also this movie, it's not muted as Godzilla 2014, but it is more colorful. Has a lot of that Vietnam palette, orange, bluish. mostly orange,
I
yellow.
forget the lush green from the
The
trees.
jungle, yeah. No, it's a fine looking movie.
Well, the studio directed it, so they probably know what's up.
Well, allegedly, that's what the guy said. Maybe he was bitter, but that's what I heard from somebody who actually worked on the movie.
Is it really that hard to believe this guy's never directed anything before? No
I
major
believe
Hollywood movie.
I believe it, but I don't know. If the studio did direct the movie as much as the guy told me, then the studio did a good job, I guess.
It reminds me, we mentioned some tonal clashes and that one guy trying to save his, because the one guy we like, the soldier guy, was trying
Yeah.
to save his crew by holding some grenades and he gets whacked by the skull crawler and just dies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you're going to try to have somebody go out heroically, don't smack them to a cliff and kill them.
Well, it's kind of doing the reverse of a setup and payoff, where they play with your expectations. You think he's going to go out bombs of glory, and then this thing just smacks him. And
Well, even when he
up.
did that, I remember thinking in the theater that there's like, what are you going to do holding a thing of grenades?
I don't know why he just didn't throw it at the thing.
Like, he did a lot of different things besides walking up to it, holding some grenades and just getting smacked.
But it was funny, though. It was
It
funny.
was.
We forgot to mention, too, that this character appears in 2 movies in the MonsterVerse. It's Dr. Houston Brooks, one of the kind of... He doesn't really have a character there, but it's established that Hollow Earth was his theory and Randa liked it. And it's a shame that he has not appeared in the Monarch show at all. He was a pretty central figure, and he appears again briefly in Godzilla King of the Monsters when Mothra hatches. Hollow Earth is his idea and his theory, so I feel like he should have been featured more, or at least have some kind of presence in Monarch.
Well, didn't he just meet Bill Randa before the movie?
Yeah, but I'm just saying going forward.
Oh, come, they don't care.
Well, I know they don't care.
Apparently, the Hollow Earth is entirely, what's her name? Kate Randa? No, not Kate.
Keiko?
What's the Keiko Randa's idea? I don't know.
Such garbage. That's the Axis Mundi, you animal. Hollow Earth and Axis Mundi are different.
Please, it's the same thing practically.
I also remember, too, when in the movie they say Kong is 100 and something feet tall, and everyone was snapping their fingers like, ooh, he's gonna grow, because they say it, he's just a child. He's gonna fight Godzilla and grow.
I remember that too. Leading up to the Godzilla vs. Kong, like, how could he fight? He's up to Godzilla's knees. Like, no, he's still growing.
They said it in the movie, he's still growing.
But they're just for the sequel bait.
Well, again, I only saw this so I could see Rodan.
I know, but that's entirely what they were setting up, the Godzilla vs. Kong.
Well, yeah, obviously, because they announced that in 2016.
Well, I know that, but just because you announce it doesn't mean the movie has to be as obvious setting it up.
This is still the best Kong movie in the MonsterVerse. Not really saying much, but when you have Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong, ugh.
You know, we're
I
gonna get to
wish-
a point
Sorry,
where there's
you go.
more bad MonsterVerse movies than good MonsterVerse. Because I would say the good ones are this one and the
First
2
3.
Godzilla
First
movies.
3.
Yeah, first 3 movies, and then then we're gonna have Godzilla X Kong. I know it hasn't come out yet, but I'm imagining it's
Supernova.
gonna be terrible.
I wish that Kong just kind of does his own thing. Because I know this movie was pretty profitable for the time. It grossed $568.7 million. I believe that is the second highest grossing in the MonsterVerse, behind Godzilla X Kong. So in no real
What?
world are we ever just going to get a solo Godzilla movie anymore. Even though Godzilla King of the Monsters came out at absolutely the worst time, where it came out a month after Endgame, which at the time, Endgame was the highest grossing movie of all time, and they decided to release it in the same summer. Just silly.
Not same summer. It was 2 or 3 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. It came out immediately after that. Trying to find the box office numbers. Yeah, Godzilla X Kong is the highest grossing. But I kind of wish Kong
No,
was
it's Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
That's what I meant. Whatever. I just kind of wish Kong would do his own thing, because it is silly that him interacting with Godzilla, because they're not in the same level. And the only good thing that Adam Wingard does in his 2 Godzilla movies is prove that Godzilla will just dominate Kong. Because it's such a silly idea. This monkey fighting against a almost 400-foot nuclear apex predator. Like, come on.
I just
Silly.
wish they could have had more kaiju in the MonsterVerse. It's called the MonsterVerse, so it's really Godzilla and sometimes Kong. I
This
think we
one
could have
felt
had
like
other kaiju.
it could have had a good Kong sequel to this, and Kong only. Again, I don't know what Kong would do on Skull Island, and maybe they'll be rehashing this movie. I don't know.
Well, I know we hate Godzilla vs. Kong, but he could have had adventures in the Hollow Earth by himself fighting other monkeys.
Yeah, sure.
But no.
Whatever my feelings are towards the Godzilla X and Godzilla and movies, it does not affect my opinion on this movie. I
I
think
mean, a
this is pretty-
little bit.
No, this
a
is-
little bit.
No, this is solid. I think I'd be lying if I said it was bad. No, it's good.
Trying to see if I can get a reaction out of you.
No, I think
Yeah,
it does a lot of silly things with the characters, but overall, it's It's good. I like it.
I don't think you're trying to convince yourself.
Oh, also, this movie has some pretty brutal deaths. That one poor monarch, not monarch, that one guy who's part of the guy with the mustache. Remember him?
Yeah, I was scared to go.
He gets his arm just ripped off by a bird. And then poor Chapman, we don't see him get eaten, but we just see blood splatter everywhere.
Yeah,
a lot of
you see
people
his
get
skull.
stomped to death by Kong. Bill Randa gets eaten. You see his flashlight go on and off inside the Skullcrawler's body.
What the one guy gets impaled by that weird bamboo spider?
Yeah, a lot of brutal deaths.
Yeah, but they weren't funny, therefore we couldn't enjoy it. Just brutal deaths.
Well, the guy losing his arm was kind of funny. It's just like, oh.
Colin, what did you think of the great character of San Lin?
Oh, her? I don't know. I'm looking right here on Wikipedia that the director said and the screenwriter, her role is initially larger, but rewrites reduced it. So it seemed like she was meant for a bigger role, but she's just kind of there. She works for Monarch. That's all we really know about her.
Well, part of the reason I'm laughing is did they even say her name in the movie?
Maybe. I know I just watched this, but honestly, I wasn't really paying attention to her character because can you call it a character?
Maybe they said Lin.
Dr. Lin, maybe, on the boat, maybe.
I just have a hard time keeping track of all these characters' names because a lot of time they don't say it and
Well, there's too many
don't
of them,
do anything.
too. There's too
Yeah.
many.
If I like something, I'll remember the names. If I don't like it, or if I don't care, I won't remember them as much. I remember some of the names in this movie, but not all of them.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, she felt like, even in the movie, it kind of feels like she was there for a bigger reason, but she just does absolutely nothing.
See, a character I wish they had in the movie was Gunpei. Apparently he dies right before they get there. Of course he dies right before he gets, so we don't have to show him or pay another actor.
Who's that?
He was the Japanese guy that they had the sword
Oh,
from.
in the beginning!
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would have been great to see the relationship between him and Marlowe kind of over the years. I don't know. I think, honestly, a movie about those two, literally adversaries of war, having to live together on Skull Island and get used to each other and have to deal with everything. I think that would have been an interesting movie, if I'm being honest.
Not just them learning to work together, but then dealing with the Iwi, these weird people who don't speak.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a great idea for a movie. Honestly, should have been this.
I agree. I think that would have been more interesting. People say that was the best character in the movie.
Yeah.
Granted, probably people like the actor too, but
No,
still, I
honestly,
think the story's there for
he
something
was
more
good.
interesting.
Probably the best character because, again, Tom Hiddleston is kind of generic British guy who's stoic as a tracker. That's really it. He even has a basic name, James Conrad. Like, come on.
Because at this point, you don't really have to have it take place in the 70s. It could take place basically at any time period. So why not? Maybe World War II's played out, or it's too close to the original, but I think at least the story could have been more interesting.
Yeah. And plus, it could have been a more interesting idea where obviously they didn't want to go there. They weren't seeking it out like the original movie. They crash landed there and they kind of have to, with very limited supplies, whatever's in their plane, whatever they could salvage is what all they have. So that could have been an interesting idea.
Yeah, it takes them a couple years to get off, and then who knows? Realize the war's over. Also, kind of sad too. He was talking about how he has a son and he doesn't know anything about his son. He missed his whole life. I know they play a bit of it for jokes, but that's really depressing. I was thinking of, because we saw Interstellar, I was thinking of that where he's crying, realizing he's missed his child's life.
Yeah.
Granted, this isn't as serious, but very sad.
Yeah. Poor guy.
At least he got his hot dog. Think he lived long enough.
He made it
to
home to see
2016?
his family at least.
That's true. I think he made it to 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series. So, what did you think of the design for Kong?
I was fine with it. I know people probably they liked the Peter Jackson more Silverback like design where he's kind of on his knuckles. And this one is kind of more like the original where he's bipedal, he stands up. So I mean, listen, it's pretty hard to mess up a gorilla design if I'm being honest.
Well, the Peter Jackson one's just a big gorilla.
Yeah. I don't know, Kong looked fine.
I remember they said they wanted Kong to be easier to draw. I guess if he's on his knuckles, that's harder for children to draw. So they just basically had him.
Is that why
be
they said that?
furry
Really?
human.
They said that?
Someone said that at some point. Granted, my brain has holes in it, so maybe I misremembered something.
No, but yeah, I liked his design.
I guess it is a nice detail in the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. Now, please forgive me for saying this, Colin, but I like that they almost give him a beard.
Oh, because he's older?
Yeah, one of the few things that they did okay. They didn't completely screw up.
Yeah, well, he has kind of mostly black gray hair. And this one, it's kind of brown red. I guess like a juvenile. His hair hasn't grayed yet.
I just think it's funny that they give him a beard. I always think of I think it was Finding Dory, where they managed to give a fish a receding hairline. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, I haven't.
I was thinking of that, how they add human qualities to, granted he's a monkey, but still the human qualities of a beard. A nice little touch.
Yeah. Well, Craig, do you have any other final thoughts? Maybe a sentence of what your thoughts are on this movie?
I just think it's fine. It's 5 out of 10 for me.
Wow, really?
I don't think it's anything bad. I just think it's okay.
I think it's pretty good. I'd give it 6.5 out of 10. Maybe a 7. Maybe you could argue a 7. Like most
6.7.
MonsterVerse movies, human stuff isn't too good, but everything else is fine. I wasn't annoyed.
I'm not saying it's bad either. I just
Well, Craig, unless we are doing something else next week, we'll probably be talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters. So, with all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin,
I'm a monkey.
and we will see you next time.